Yeah.
You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. This call is from
Pat Hoffman.
an inmate at Airway Heights Correction Center. This call will be recorded and monitored. If you wish to block any future calls of this nature, dial 7 now. To accept this call, press 5 now. To decline this call, hang up. Thank you.
Good morning, folks.
Good morning, Patrick. Blessings to you. Blessings to you. I do have something quickly to tell you.
Yeah.
I got a message. You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
No, go ahead. Tell me.
Okay, so I contacted the Tribal Tribune, like you mentioned, and I asked for a photo of your dad, and they responded. And it's black and white. It's black and white, and it's kind of faded, but you can definitely see your dad. And here's what I put on Facebook. I put the picture of your dad on Facebook, and I said Patrick Hoffman's dad is Elmer McGinnis. Army veteran Elmer was shot by police at 2:30 a.m. raid on his home. Elmer has now died in prison, and his son Patrick has spent 32 years in prison on a life sentence. Patrick has maintained their innocence since he was arrested over 32 years ago. And then I give your mailing address where people can mail you letters.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll...
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I think it was a great idea, and I know it's got to be tough, man, to think about your father. But I'll print that off and mail it to you, Patrick. And he looks like a really good guy, man. He looks like a really good guy. I just, I can tell you must have loved him a great deal.
Yes, it wasn't an easy situation either, because it started out in my earliest memories that I knew him as a friend of the family. I always, in my younger years, up until I was 13, I thought that he was just a friend of the family that came over regularly. And he did what he had to do in order that what happened to us be avoided, because we are hereditary chief bloodline. And I'm even more than Dad is because of who he married, Bobby Quill. Now, at Barbara Quill's sailor, at her funeral, my sister comes up to me as we put the last dirt on the grave and says, that's our mother that we buried there. And I looked at her in shock. And I didn't know what to say or what to do. I had my nieces and nephews from my sister Nellie had said something when I was 5 or 6 years old or something like that, and it had made me cry, but I didn't understand what they were talking about, me not being Hoffman and that sort of thing until that moment. And then it clicked and everything come together, and I didn't know who I was for the longest time. And I went through several years of inner torment trying to understand what the hell was going on, why this and why that, and it showed different children aspects of little hate things. I got punched in the face several times when I was a kid because I wasn't about fighting or anything like that, but the ones who had lost their dad because their dad had went with my mother, they thought that by attacking me in some way, it would make everything right for them. And this is the kind of thing that is perpetuated with this and ongoing, and I don't understand it until I get into prison and find out that I am hereditary chief bloodline in four different chiefs on the Colville Reservation come to be my ancestors. And then it starts to become clear that this election system that they have and all of the things there, and my working for the tribe and working for the county and working for the state and stuff with different things all go to add up to become a working knowledge of how to gain back the things that were lost to my people. The land that we have lost. The Colville Reservation is 1.3 million acres. That is 1/8 of the original treaty land grant that was supposed to be ours. It was supposed to be the whole eastern half of the state of Washington to the Cascade Mountain Range. From Oregon border to the Canadian border, and from the Idaho border to those mountain ranges there. That was supposed to be all Salish land. The Yakimas and the Colvilles and every other Indian group in there, the Warm Springs Reservation and the Nez Perce, and all of those were supposed to have signed that treaty. And it went to the president, who was Ulysses S. Grant at the time, the one that fought for freeing the slaves, turns around and takes 7/8 of our land. Not only does he take the land, but he has the soldiers come and drive us across the river, and not only drive us, but kill those that would not move. So we have that contend with, and that's our sacred land. We hold those things to be truth, and I've got airship holdings on the Spokane Indian Reservation, and I've got airship holdings on the Colville Reservation. 16 different plots. Some of them are so small because of this division of airship and stuff like that if I put both feet down close together on what's supposed to be my property, the edge of my feet still touches somebody else's property. I'm stepping on somebody else's property, so I have to stand on one foot in order to keep my property under me. But be that as it may, that's not the problem. The problem is we had sacred land taken from us, and it wasn't paid for, it was stolen. And everybody in the state of Washington seems to think that it was the proper thing to do at the time, and we have the original place where the Colville Indian Agency was supposed to be at Chewelah, Washington. And there is a hospital there that was run by the Dominican nuns, and we still have authority through state law and federal law that anybody that's sick on our reservation can go there and receive free medical assistance because we're Colville natives. Now they have the information that and because they were granted the land that they had to form the hospital and stuff before there was a state and stuff, they have the title paperwork that shows the true boundaries of the Colville Confederated Tribes and the Salish Nations and the Coeur d'Alene Nations and the Blackfoot Nations, and all of that is held there, and there's information there that nobody else knows about. This government that we have here patterned themselves after the United States government, and they took it upon themselves to act like them in such a way that everything mirrored them, so that we started calling them Apple Indians, or we called them Siwash, because Siwash in our language means to hang around the Fort Indians. So that's what they did, that's what they're doing, and now it comes to me that I have to get free in order for me to conduct the thing that is necessary to gain our land back. And I see things unfolding before me, and even though I'm a prisoner and stuff, it's unfolding before me. My wife, Agnes, just got a blurb over the internet the other night, 2 nights ago, that there was 2 or 3 black men in the New York area that had gotten out of prison, had been on death row, and had been released and were free. And it comes to find out that Mr. Donald Trump paid $850,000 to have them placed on the death row. This has not come to light yet with the news media or anything, but it's a little bit telling about his signing over the oil pipeline stuff in the Dakotas and taking down the public lands thing so that people can go prospecting and oil prospecting and things like that on those public lands that they weren't able to before. It's a little bit telling too about Mr. Trump being the deviant one and trying to obtain whatever he can differently than any other president has, and wanting to say that he in one point he said that he was the only president to be as rough as he was on the Russian ministry. And it seems to me that there was a thing back in 1962 about the missiles of October where Khrushchev had moved Russian missiles to Cuba under Castro's regime, and we were about to face nuclear war for 21 days. And it come to the point to where they had to back off because all of the United States and all of the other allied countries determined that if there was one missile launched from anywhere, whether it was a boat platform, a ship platform, or what have you, they were all going to direct their missiles towards Moscow. So we don't have Donald Duck Trump saying that by any means. Oh, Mr. Putin, he's a very, very strong man, and I respect him, and we've never had any contact or anything to do with, there's been no collusion. Anyway, I'm rambling now, and I'm sorry for that. I've had a rough morning dealing with this thing that these 2 criminals that are up here trying to create a situation where there is none.
Well,
they've taken advantage of the legal system in a way. The paperwork that I received states that if I don't show up for the hearing, then the matter could be given into their favor simply by my absence. That's why I have Agnes doing what we're doing to that. And along those lines, I need to find out if you have their location of their websites at your disposal. If not, it's okay. But what we're contending is that they've engaged in a conspiracy to perform hate crimes with DOC officials in an institutional environment. And they need to be very watchful of this now, because this is a highly legal situation. This goes to homeland terrorism, and these things that they're doing are against the law. Whether I'm guilty or not has no bearing on whether or not they have a right to harass me and make my life more miserable. If I'm guilty, I'm doing my time. If I'm not guilty, then they should, as U.S. citizens, be trying to help me and find who really killed their father. But no, they can't do that. They're showing their ignorance and they're showing their hatred. And they've showed their hatred enough that they could do prison time. It just all depends on whether or not this judge views things in its proper light and does what he's supposed to do. I'm hoping that somewhere along the way that there's a memory with this judge that he went to Newland's Cafe one evening and heard me play music and remembers me as a good, strong musician and an upstanding citizen.
I hope so. Yeah, Mr. Hoffman, I'll send everything that I have to Agnes, but all of these people, Corey has decided to align herself with a bunch of anonymous devils, and I don't want to sugarcoat things because we're always limited in our time, and I don't want to I don't want to hold back. I want to just tell you the brutal truth. But these people, they take pleasure in your suffering, and they take pleasure in your harassment. And she's even said, I've got a snapshot of her saying that she's going to call the prison, or I'm thinking about calling the prison for a suicide watch. In other words, she wants the prison to put you on suicide watch, and then other people that are anonymous are bragging about calling the prison to harass you, and that's who she's decided to associate with. So she's got a very dark heart. She's got a very, very dark heart.
You need to send any documents that have that or anything that you've recorded in paper form to Agnes, because she's going to send that out within the next 24 hours, and we need to have copies of those statements, and we need to have some kind of pinpoint to address that these are real people. These aren't somebody that's been fictitiously made up to make these statements and carry out by these two. What shows in the two paperworks that you sent me and to Agnes is that there is a collusion between this ghost of Hingston or whoever it is, and he's admitted that he's done this on several occasions in the past already. So what we're trying to do is pinpoint who this person is for the courts, so that the courts can go and do what they're supposed to do, which is produce a warrant for them for arrest for hate crimes done in an institutional setting, conspiracy to commit hate crimes. There are big numbers involved with that as far as that is right now, because the U.S. government is looking for those that are doing hate crimes. That's their new play right now. So they played right into it. I hope they go for a big long ride. They've had the opportunity to do good and chose to do wickedness. So it's on them. It's not on me. I don't wish them ill will, but I wish them to get what they have coming to them in a deserving manner. I don't have anything to do with it. I've never had any hate against them. What they've done to me, they've done out of the hate of their own heart, and I have a right to defend against that, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I'll just say that the two things that really showed me where their heart is when Josh Millard said, "I don't care if he didn't."
60 seconds remaining.
He said, "I don't care if he fired the gun or not. He deserves to, die in prison." And then Corey and her merry band of new anonymous devilish friends started to call the prison to see you who harassed, and they enjoyed the fact that you were saying that your cell got trashed and the guards were harassing you, rather than feeling empathy.
Here's the bottom line with this. No matter what they do to me, I will always do better than they like, and that's what they can't get past. They'll never get past that. And
You have 30 seconds remaining.
I will see my freedom. And when I see my freedom, there's nothing that I have any more to do with them, because what they've done and brought on themselves. They've produced the truth. And if I'm an innocent man, what do I have to hold against them? Nothing.
Yeah, right.
Have a good day.
More blessings and prayers
Love
for
and
you.
respects.
Love and respect,
Love
Mr.
and
Hoffman.
respects to you always.
God bless you.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.